Hello, YouTube. This is Glenn Coward, and I am back. I've been gone for a little while, but I am back in the flesh. You can see I got a little bit more gray, so I'm aging real fast, like the movie Old. As you can see, I like to cut up a little bit. And before we get to it, please hit subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If you don't like, tell me why. But I'm going to get right into it. My title is Jehovah Witnesses, Wake Up. In or out, wake up. A little bit about myself. My name is Glenn, like I said before. I'm 55. I was raised a Jehovah Witness. That's all I've ever known. So, celebrating no Christmas, no birthdays, no holidays, none of that. Only thing I celebrated was someone's anniversary and Jesus Christ when he was killed. That's a memorial, and that was it. Which is something like, I think, compared to people of other religions, I think it's like Easter. I'm not too familiar with all holidays, but I think that's kind of in the same category or whatever. But I'm gonna get right to it. I was born in New York, born in Harlem, and we left when I was about 7. My father was kidnapped and killed. He had a restaurant, him and a business partner, and the murder was never solved. And so that's another story. But we moved to North Carolina, and after about 2 years of being here, my mom remarried to a nice man. And she's currently going through Alzheimer's. I think I said that right. Alzheimer's, however you say it. But she couldn't have picked a better man to be married to. He was a Jehovah's Witness as well. So most Jehovah's Witnesses are truly good people. Very good people. Normally high moral standards. And they're good people. I hear a lot of people kind of bashing them a little bit on the internet. And I would say, because they're a little different, don't bash them. It's just certain things that we were raised that makes it a little difficult. So I will say that. I'm not going to bash. But I will say this much. Some of the things, I'm 55, and there are people like my brother, he's a little bit older than me. And then I have friends that are a little bit younger than me. And all of us was raised in a time where we thought that we didn't have to worry about retirement, having grandkids. We just didn't have to worry about that part of our life because we will be in the new order. And that has something to do with the 1914 issue, where the people that were around to witness that are able to comprehend that, they will keep on living. They'll never have to die. And so, and I think they came with new light, as they say now, that there's an overlapping generation. That's a whole nother ball game. But most of the witnesses that were raised in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s had the perception that this system would be over soon. We never thought it would go to 2021. You just didn't even think about that. And that had a lot to do with a lot of witnesses now that were raised that way, left the truth, either faded, PIMO, whatever you want to call it, don't want to have anything to do with it. The only thing I'll say, and I'm not going to say in defense, I would say some of the things that we learn as we will learn witnesses or being brought up witnesses. I can understand why you don't celebrate Christmas. I can understand why you don't celebrate Halloween, Easter, all of that. Because most of them are pagan. They're the Trinity doctrine, straight up pagan. So I understand all of that. And I agree with that. Now, the one thing that I always had an issue with, but I never really said much about it because I was so young, was on birthdays. We all know Jesus Christ, I think, was baptized when he was 30 or 33. So if we know how old he is, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, correct me. But if that's the truth, then there must be some significance towards a birthday. I mean, there's got to be some reason why we acknowledge how old we are. So if we celebrate a person's anniversary or how long they've been married, I that's always been a touchy subject. The subject of Thanksgiving, I don't celebrate it. Being a black man, I'm not going to celebrate that. But, some other person, they might celebrate it, whatever. But I don't know if that's a pagan holiday or not. I know people that were the natural Americans, which we classified as Indians, but that's the Native Americans. They definitely don't celebrate Thanksgiving because it has nothing to do with them. It's kind of a slap in the face. So we ain't going to get into that. But the holiday thing, most of it I understand. Some of it I have some issues with. And like I said, how we were raised, we were under the perception that the end will come at any time. And the end might come. But it's kind of arrogant to think in our little 70, 80 years of life that Jehovah is going to make the end come in this particular time frame that we have based upon 7,000 years of man existence, as far as we know. So it's kind of arrogant to think, it's going to happen in our little time period. Jesus Christ was talking about our time period. Jesus Christ was talking about, he said he didn't even know when the end was going to come. So why would the society put such an emphasis on people that were around in 1914 or able to comprehend that will never have to die? Why couldn't they just say, look, this is the way to be, this is the way to go, serve Jehovah. In your life, pursue your dreams. Just don't forget Jehovah. So there's nothing wrong with being a lawyer, being a doctor, being a sports star, celebrity. Just don't forget where you came from. Just don't forget Jehovah. I never understood why they didn't do that. I look at myself for an example. When I was 15, 16, 17 years old, coaches used to come to my mom's house all the time. I ain't gonna say all the time, once or twice, to try to convince my parents to let me play sports. They say, hey, Glenn is exceptionally good at basketball or football. He can get a scholarship. At least he can get a scholarship, free college. No. He's going to be around bad association. To counter that, when you go to work, it's bad association. If you want to say that, there's people of the world. When you go to work, you cannot escape the world. So why limit yourself? That's always been an issue for me. And I'm sure a lot of witnesses that were about my age or a little bit younger or a little bit older can relate to this. And a lot of them have a bitter feel towards the organization because of that. Now, there are so many other things that we could talk about. Like I said, I'm not here to bash the witnesses. I'm here to say, if you are a witness or if you are PMO, faded, whatever you want to call it, just like we're in America and we don't agree with everything that goes on in America, so therefore you can speak out if you don't like something in America. I think a lot of the witnesses that are still in the organization need to speak up, say something. There could be, if you have an issue with something and they don't answer it, say something. If you read some material that states that the witnesses are, we'll say for an example, the governing body, in the trial, I think it's in Australia or the Canadian, I can't remember which one, but the gentlemen that were representing the Watchtower Society, Bible and Tract Society, they pretty much lied. You can call it like you see it, they pretty much lied. When they talked about how we treat people that have been disfellowship or how we treat people that we shun, and then also hiding the child molesters. It's wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying we made a mistake, but witnesses don't say that. I'm not going to say the witnesses, the people that are in the Bible and Tract Society, they don't say that. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to judge them because I've been disfellowship. I haven't been a witness in 20-some years. I think about coming back sometimes, but if I can't speak my mind, I got issues with it. My last example I'm going to give this time, and then it's almost been 10 minutes and I'm going to get off. There's a place and a time for anybody to say anything. And I use an example of Saul and David. David knew he was going to be the king a long time before he became king. And he had many times, he had a chance to kill Saul, and he never would, because he said, hey, Jehovah appointed him. I'm not going to touch that right now. We're just going to let Jehovah, basically, he said, we're going to let Jehovah handle that. And Jehovah did. So what I'm saying, even in reference to myself, there's other religions that are out there, but most of them are, full of, what? Witnesses have their issues. I agree with that. They have their issues. And they need to fess up and apologize and come forward and say something about it. And they don't. I have an issue with that. But for the people that are in, approach them. Make them answer that question. You have a problem with the child molestation cases, say something about it. If they want to kick you out, then that's a problem. Okay? That's my time this time. I'm not going to keep running off at the mouth. I'll be back. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting me. I look forward to talking to you again. Take care.